Sure.
Please welcome our guest for today, Dr. Derek Miller. Dr. Miller holds a PhD in Material Science and Engineering, and he founded the Genius Lab Gear in 2019 while working full-time as a research scientist in industry. He started with an idea of a few simple gadgets, and they are simultaneously creating fun gifts for researchers like stickers, science-themed word magnets, and hosting science art from independent contributors for creating more beautiful lab spaces. And that's an awesome way of spreading science, I must say, Derek.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun so far.
Yeah,
Um,
I have been looking through your online shop and on Instagram as well. You have a word magnet which is really getting a lot of attention.
yeah, those are a lot of fun. That's probably the most fun product I created.
Yeah.
And part of the reason I made it was the interaction that you can get from it,
Hmm.
right? Is just you can get people, creating their own, science-themed phrases, jokes, rants, people complaining to their lab mates, whatever, uh, getting some frustration out or just being creative, putting some poetry together. And then they can take a picture of it with their phone and post it on Instagram real quick or on Twitter and share it with their friends. And it's, try to get who's got the funniest joke or the best poem or,
Yeah.
something around a certain topic. And so that's been a lot of fun so far. And I like to play with them too. I wish I had them in my lab when I was in grad school.
Yeah. So, can you tell us something about your research?
Yeah, so I got my PhD doing material science. Usually, most of it was on semiconducting oxides. So like tin oxide, TiO2, a few of the other main ones, used as gas sensors. And so that would involve kind of the surface chemistry of different gases, landing on these materials and then picking up a change in the resistivity of those semiconducting oxides. They're wide band gap, but and then to detect which gases are in the atmosphere. And so that was my grad school research.
Okay.
I graduated with my PhD and I got a job at an LED company.
That's
And so I can't talk that much about what I actually do for the LED company, but in general, design new products, make them more efficient, better color uniformity, color efficiency, finding new kinds of ways to create new LED products that a lot of it are very specific applications
yes.
that there's just nothing out there currently that someone can just buy and put it in. So that's been a lot of fun. It's definitely challenging, but it takes a lot of the fundamental material science that I learned in grad school,
Yeah.
but that's really only like 10% of it,
Okay.
and the rest of it has been learning manufacturing and troubleshooting and all kinds of working with many other teams and support teams and testing and data analysis, things like that. It just kind of grew off of what I had already known.
Okay.
So definitely an interesting experience coming out of academia.
That's really nice. So,
Yeah.
what motivated you to start the Genius Lab Gear?
Um, so I wish I had done this in grad school, but I didn't really have uh, the motivation to do something other than my direct, career path until, I had what I felt like a little bit more free time and at my job, or after my job. And what happened was I noticed in my research in the industry, there were just a few little ideas I had for like little gadgets that I could, 3D print or design that could be they could just make like the everyday interactions with you and your research a little bit easier, whether it's organizational things or just having things in the right place, ergonomic things in the fume hood. I had a few ideas like that, so that kind of got me started down the path. And I just the more I looked into it, the more I realized that even looking back at my grad school lab, um, our research labs in general aren't that user friendly,
Hmm.
and it's just kind of a collection of objects. And I think as scientists, we generally accept that like it's not designed for us. It's not designed to be easy for
Yeah.
easy for us to use. They're designed to work and to be practical,
Yeah.
and that's step one. But once you get there, I think there's another layer of how much better could we make this for your day to day, both for like efficiency and productivity, but also just enjoyment, and ergonomics is another one, organization. those types of things are ones that I wanted to address. That it seems like a lot of the companies out there that are making laboratory tools are doing it from very much from the practical side,
Yes.
uh, and not so much for the usability side.
Okay.
And I've just seen a lot of room for improvement there, and I really want to make laboratories that are more beautiful and friendly places to work in. That's kind of the goal.
That's really motivating, actually, to hear that. So the name, the Genius Lab Gear, is really cool. So how did you choose this name? What?
Um, yeah, I'd say it was easy because it just kind of flowed out of my brain somehow, and I liked it enough that I checked the domain was available, and so I grabbed it. There's a lot of other domains and companies around the
Yeah.
word genius, so I had to be a little careful there. But I definitely wanted it to be aimed specifically for laboratories, and so I just, I thought it worked. It's a little bit long. Some
Yeah.
people get it twisted up sometimes, but I think I'll stick with it.
That's nice. So, I mean, for every company to start up is really difficult. So, how did you start it? What initial difficulties did you face?
Um, yeah, gosh, it's a whole world. You come out of doing, science and research, and going into the entrepreneur world is just it's like something that you maybe know is there, but you don't
Yeah.
even like peek into it until you poke through that window, and then all of a sudden there's this massive space, and you don't even know where to start. But I don't think you really have to start that big. So I mean, what I did, I made a website. It's so easy nowadays to make a website. Anybody can do it in a couple hours at max. If you pay a little bit of money per month for a service.
Yes.
Um, and, oh, let's see. Okay, you cut out for a second.
Okay.
And from there, you can basically, as long as you have something to sell, you can go ahead and start selling it. And there's manufacturers out there for just about anything. The easiest thing that a lot of people are doing is like with stickers, like like this was one of the first stickers I made, the Science is for Everyone one, and I found a manufacturer. I ordered like 100.
Yeah.
I put them up on the website, and I started posting about it on Instagram, and that's kind of the lowest barrier to entry, and it's not that
Oh,
hard. You can do that in a couple weeks if you want to, really.
okay.
And then you just have to just read a lot of blog posts, watch some YouTube videos. If you're in advanced science, you can definitely handle it, right? There's nothing. It's not anything harder than any research you've ever done. You just have to
Oh,
spend the time to learn. And so I just started small with things that are, inexpensive, easy to mail or ship.
yes.
And then as I got a bigger customer base, kind of went to slightly more expensive or more risky things, I guess, to design
Yes.
and get manufactured. And then kind of the latest thing I made is I don't have one here, but it's the first actual laboratory tool, which is basically an angled holder for a petri dish. While you're exchanging media in a hood, and so that was kind of like the most sophisticated step I've taken so far,
Okay.
is finding a manufacturer and designing that from scratch. And I hope to, once COVID is over, I hope
Yeah.
to get back into some laboratories and do more of that.
That's nice. And how do you design your products? I think uh, there is some
If
difficulty
my
here. Yeah,
if
I can
if
hear you now.
mine's okay,
Yeah.
great. Um, Sorry, could you repeat question?
Yeah. Sorry, I was asking how do you design your new products?
Um, so I have like some basic expertise in like AutoCAD and SolidWorks.
Yeah.
I'm by no means an expert, but I can knock something out given enough time and watching some YouTube videos.
Okay.
So I do use some of those. It's fairly straightforward. I've also gotten a few programs. If you have like the Adobe, I'm not sure which one it is in Adobe. I got a different version that's called Affinity, where you can actually draw and illustrate, design any kind of vector art that you want, and that's great for if you want to do stickers or
Yeah.
pins or anything like that.
Yes.
It's makes it really easy to make it look professional, even if you don't actually have very good control over a stylus.
Okay.
As an artist, you can kind of design it in a in a way of making curves and vectors, which is a little bit easier, I think, for a lot of scientists that aren't too artistically inclined.
Yep. And what are the future plans with Genius Lab Gear now?
Um, so I had wanted to, continue going to laboratories and really like finding these specific problems and creating something to solve it. I've had to put a pause on that because of the pandemic. A lot of scientists aren't allowed into their own laboratories, let alone, letting someone else in. So right now I'm really focusing on the things I have and, kind of growing the
Yes.
customer base. And in the future, I definitely want to spend a lot of time visiting research labs. Right now, I'm in the Research Triangle region in North Carolina, and so there's a lot of great, university labs around here. And I want to, go in, visit for, a few hours or half a day, and just kind of talk to the researchers. I love learning what their, little annoyances are, their little frustrations. Like, I wish somebody made something that did this, and I was like, well, yeah, I can make that. It's not that wouldn't be too difficult.
Yeah.
And learning, like their lab hacks, right? Like we rigged up something with tape and bobby pins and whatever else and
Yes.
Sharpies to to really make something work a lot better. And I
Mm-hmm.
like to learn those things and figure out if there's a way we can, take it another level and refine it to
Yes.
you know, because a lot of individual labs have this, little hack they came up with,
Yes.
but the lab down the hall might not know anything about it, let alone the lab at another state or another country. And so if you can kind of take those things and share them, and especially build like, very small and expensive products like around it, you can really get that out
Yes.
to a wider audience, and just help people do the research much easier. And so that's kind of the goal. I want to build, a database of these lab hacks, and then start to create things that are a little bit more elegant than what grad students usually have to work with, which is tape and Sharpies and whatever else they have lying around on a low budget. So I'd like to approach it from that way,
Oh,
and the whole time I want to keep uh, the branding and the feel of it to be very modern and unique. Like so much lab equipment is like plain white and just very kind of sterile and stuffy. It should be sterile, right? But I want to introduce a little more color and a little better design into these types of things and make it look little more futuristic. If you think about like what SpaceX did
yeah.
compared to what NASA was doing, like that kind of generational gap. I'm not comparing myself to SpaceX, but like that's
Yeah.
the idea of NASA had very functional equipment, right? And that's where I feel like most lab manufacturers are right now. But then SpaceX comes in and makes things that are just as functional, if not more,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also beautiful enough that they're inspiring to people. They
Yes.
feel futuristic and they feel like something you want to work with. And I
Yeah.
would love to take that step in some of the newer things we come up with.
That's awesome. And my last question is, do you have any tips for budding entrepreneurs or who want to start their own company?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think the hardest thing is just feeling like you can do it. So, especially coming out of the sciences, it's such a foreign thing often to for someone like that to go into that field
Yeah.
or to go and take on that kind of role unless they're spinning off, a technology.
Mm-hmm.
But I think I would follow podcasts or Instagram accounts or read blogs
Yes.
from other entrepreneurs that have done it, because
Yeah.
not only do you get like a lot of really good tips, but
Mm-hmm.
you also get confidence from it. Um,
Yeah.
so you can kind of see like they also started with no background in any of this, and here are the
Yeah.
steps that they took along the way, and it's all about taking that first few steps. It's not, you don't have to learn everything right away. You will figure out everything as you go, And so as long as you assume that, you'll figure it out, you just
Yes.
start small, start studying these other people who have done it, and
Yep.
you'll find yourself following in their footsteps, to being successful, and then eventually taking it your own direction once you feel like you have a handle on it.
Okay. Have you written any blog posts like these that you want
Um,
to share?
I, I've written several blog posts. Yeah, I haven't written anything necessarily about entrepreneurial type things, and that's actually a really good idea that I should probably work on. There are a few
Yeah.
blog posts that people watching might find helpful. Some of the earlier ones I wrote, one was what I learned leaving academia, or I guess why I left academia to go into industry. That one you can find on the website. That's just kind of my perspective and why I felt like I needed to do that, for
Yeah.
myself internally. Um, and then have another one about kind of my best tips for writing a thesis, and another one about going to conferences, which is completely different now. And that one is
Yeah.
is probably my favorite one. How to really get the most out of a conference. Not as applicable today, but maybe next summer or next fall
Yeah.
it'll be a little more applicable when we can start going back to conferences again. So I would definitely check those out on the website. There's a blog tab. You can go right to it and find all of them.
And I would like to thank you very much for your time today and sharing these great advice. There are many budding
Yeah,
entrepreneurs as you, man. All of us will make use of your advice.
yes, definitely. Yeah, and thank you so much for having me. It's a lot of fun. Always enjoy talking to you, and good luck with the rest of the interview series as well.
Thank you very much. And please do follow Genius Lab Gear on his account, Genius Lab Gear, right? At the rate Genius Lab Gear.
Yeah, yep,
Yes.
definitely. Yeah, thank you so much.
Have a good day.